Stansberry. I now recognize the chairman of the full committee of Natural Resources, Mr. Bruce Westerman, for his statement.
Thank you, Chairman Gosar and Ranking Member Stansberry, for holding this important hearing today, and thank you to the witnesses for being here. I do want to point out we have an empty seat in front of us again. The Council on Environmental Quality is not exempt, regardless of what they may think, from congressional oversight. I want to make the record clear that we not only invited Chair Mallory with plenty of notice, but also allowed her to provide a designee for this hearing. And in response, her staff stated that, and I quote, "We do not have a designee for Chair Mallory that will be available to testify on September 14th. So not only did she not show up, she couldn't find anybody in the office over there to come by and visit with the committee that has jurisdiction over her agency's existence. And to me, that's just quite simply unacceptable. Moreover, in email exchanges with my staff, CEQ staff questioned the precedent of congressional oversight. The Supreme Court has, on multiple occasions, clarified the power of Congress to conduct oversight and investigations. Apparently, the chair thinks this doesn't apply to her tenure at CEQ. And since her time as chair of CEQ, Chair Mallory has now twice refused to testify in our committee, willfully ignored questions from members of Congress during the hearing. She avoided the questions during the one hearing that she did show up to and missed deadlines for regular congressional inquiries and questions for the record. And my staff informed me that late last night, they got a data dump of questions that were answered from our last congressional hearing that had gone unanswered up until this point. So while ignoring routine oversight, the chair and her employees at CEQ are continuing to do I don't know what, because the purpose of oversight is to find out what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're being stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and are they following the laws that Congress passed. And again, I'm not sure what they're doing with their time and their massive overinflated budget that is nearly 70 times their authorized amount, but it doesn't appear to be in enforcing a bipartisan law that their boss, President Biden, signed into law. And we're 100 days past the implementation of the Fiscal Responsibility Act that passed with a majority of votes in both the House and the Senate on a bipartisan measure and was signed into law by President Biden. And the feedback I'm getting from the outside world is that not one bit of that policy is being implemented. So I think that's a reasonable request to have the chair of CEQ to come to this committee and answer questions on how they're implementing the law that, again, was a bipartisan law. And from 2019 to 2023, CEQ's baseline budget more than doubled, and they received an additional $62.5 million from the Inflation Reduction Act to support environmental and climate data collection. In short, the administration is funneling millions of taxpayer dollars to an agency whose, at best I can tell, primary goal is, quote, environmental justice above all, while that agency refuses to answer questions from the representatives of the American public. Well, I can tell you that consequences have actions have consequences, and those who don't show up to work generally don't get paid. And to quote a president from long ago, from the other side of the aisle, the buck will stop here. It stops in Congress. We're the ones that send the money to the administration. And I will be working with my counterparts in the Appropriations Committee to ensure that we put a stop to egregious behavior and look to fund CEQ at a level that is commensurate with its accountability and its accountability to the American people and its congressionally authorized levels. And something that's still true today, according to our Constitution, is that Congress makes law and the administration enforces the law. And we may have a lot of great policy ideas. We may have philosophies on society. There may be outside activist groups who think the world should operate this way or it should operate that way. But at the end of the day, according to our Constitution, the law rules. And it's the law that Congress passes and that the administration signs. And when we have an agency that deviates from that, it's Congress's responsibility. It's our duty as representatives of the people to hold the administration accountable. And that's the purpose of this hearing today. I do want to again thank the witnesses that are here. I think you can provide important information about the real-world impacts of the actions of CEQ, and I look forward to hearing the testimony. Again, Chairman, thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you.